What's going on, guys? JPS back for another video, and today we're going to be reacting to Casuals, the last subculture in English football. Last month we reacted to some of the biggest English football derbies, which is where you have two clubs from the same city competing against each other. Obviously, that's quite the rivalry and emotions can run very high. There are definitely some elements of hooliganism, maybe more than just elements in that. And I know that the rivalries maybe aren't exactly the same as they used to be, and things aren't as much violence when it comes to these matches. But today we're going to be taking a look at something entirely new, casuals, a term I've never heard relating to English football. But I did a little look at it, and it looks like they're these guys who wear some nice clothing and don't wear their club or aren't affiliated with a club, but go in and kind of just cause trouble. So that's my knowledge of it before even going into the video. So we'll see how that changes, but I definitely am very excited to learn about this, and the Derby video has certainly piqued my interest when it comes to English football. So with that being said, let's get right into this. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit subscribe, consider joining the Patreon. First link in description for full reactions to British shows and movies, and let's get right into this.
On Copper 90, we've been finding out about football supporter culture all around the world. For me personally, my love of football is as much about the people in the terraces as it is the players on the pitch. But one thing we haven't focused on is the history of English supporter culture, and in particular, one incredibly influential movement that started in the 70s and still resonates today: casuals. History of how it got so big and why so many younger football fans aspire to carry on the cult. To get a better understanding of casual culture, I've come out here to the Victoria Tavern in the East End of London, where I'm going to speak to Grant Fleming, who was around when casual culture all began. Casual culture, what is it exactly?
It's just something that I would say you couldn't define as much as, say, mod or skinhead, but it's linked to football, and it's a fashion that grew out of football supporters' identities. You had youth who didn't really want to identify themselves as particularly from one team, and interestingly enough, I mean, if you think of the dark days of football hooliganism, is that son, you these really smart kids and really expensive clothing, having massive tear-ups in the middle of the street.
It wasn't just defined though to fashion as well, casual culture. Obviously there was music as well, of which you were highly involved. Was there a specific genre?
You could cite the Jam particularly because they had a big mod following. So it wasn't much to kind of, go over from being a mod into a casual. The stuff in Liverpool, like Teardrop Explodes, Echo and the Bunnymen, Liverpool fans were obviously on top of that. So there's all these little sort of substratas of it. This culture has become kind of exposed in the media. We've had the movies, we've had the books. So there's something to refer to now. There's something to copy. There won't be subcults like that ever again, no. Because nothing has a chance to grow and mutate in a way that an underground scene would. It had time to grow and just become something organic.
What was your piece?
I'll go my Sambas, just because I loved them. And I've always been Adidas, so I always identified by that, I guess.
I think that's a good way to finish it. Thank you so much, Grant. Appreciate it, mate.
I feel like based off this small picture I have of a casual, I could see them wearing like Lacoste or just, like a polo shirt with some Adidas, some trainers, something like that. And then those are the guys who are like, that just feels like the biggest juxtaposition. You're wearing all this nice clothing and then you're starting trouble, like starting riots in the street, going crazy. Like, what? That just sounds so, I've never heard of anything like that, honestly. That's just like, it doesn't make sense to me. Let's keep watching.
Clear that the casual scene wasn't just confined to the capital. In fact, the continental success of many northern teams like Liverpool in the 70s and the consequential travel of their fans following them meant many claim that the casual scene started in the north. So we've come up to Merseyside to speak to a guy who's still involved in the scene today.
You know, from people that likes my dad and his friends who tell me the stories of going back to the late 70s, early 80s, it really was the dominance of Liverpool Football Club in Europe that allowed them to sort of get out onto the continent and come back with these new clothing that you couldn't get. Some of the local entrepreneurs have got a lot to answer for as well. Guys like Wade Smith, who would go over to the continent.
This is actually amazing. It's the first Scouser accent, again it sounds so derogatory, that I've ever been able to hear. I can actually understand what he's saying. What is going on right now, guys? This is weird.
Local entrepreneurs have got a lot to answer for as well. Guys like Wade Smith, who would go over to the continent and literally come back with van loads of training shoes they just couldn't get here.
On the subject of, you know, clothes and their accessibility all around the world for whichever brand you want, that's something you're involved in through your company, is that correct?
I guess so, yeah. I run two clothing websites, one Distant Echo, one called Steeple Pine. Distant Echo was set up back in 2011. I realised that there was brands popping up that was sort of celebrating the football culture, the music scene, brands like 80s Casuals, Casual Connoisseur, Peaceful Hooligan. I did feel at the time that there wasn't a single place where you could get them. It's not just a Merseyside thing, it's not even a domestic thing, it's a worldwide thing. We sell throughout the UK, throughout Europe, sell as far afield as Japan, Argentina, on a weekly basis. So there's people that are buying into this culture. The likes of the clothing still does connect people, but I would say the camaraderie still does exist. There's friendships that are forged in mainland Europe when you're in a corner of a town for a UEFA Cup game and you come across a couple of lads you've never seen before, and immediately you become mates because there's something that connects you. People do like to look quite smart, so they might look at a nylon replica kit with a corporate logo on the front and think, that's not really me, but that's smart crew neck jumper with a shirt underneath. That's more me.
What I'm really learning about the casual scene was that whilst yes there were elements of violence within it, it really was about the clothes, the music, and especially that camaraderie that provided you lifelong moments with your mates. But I still want to learn more about it all. So next stop, we're heading to Manchester.
Oh, wow, this is an amazing video so far. They've chosen some really great people to interview who definitely seem to be very involved in the casual scene. But I think I'm getting a better idea of, I think at first I was like, I thought the elements of hooliganism were much more prominent in the whole casual subculture, but I don't know, I guess you really had to be there. Let me know if we have any casuals in the comment section. What's it like, guys? Or what was it like?
The Moss side, where we're going to speak to a contact called Paul, who's involved in the more extreme side of the casual scene. Paul, first and foremost, ask you, how did you slowly get involved in the casual scene? What year was it? You start going by yourself, how did it all start?
I mean, I've always been fascinated by the clothes. I mean, it's the same old story, really. You used to see a lot of the majority of the fans wearing the shirts, and then you get this small group of look like, you know, big, strong-looking men. They used to be the ones that sung the most as well. You used to start the songs off, and obviously, you know, early days I did see bits of Trouble in the Ground and stuff, and I was obviously fascinated by it as a young lad. First, as a kid, I wanted all the replica kits with the names on the back, and then, you know, as I got older, I started to think, that's not me now. I wanted to get into the, you know, I wanted to be a part of these guys, and I remember wearing the clothes before anyone even knew me.
We were talking earlier about how things have changed. What's that resulted in?
Back in the day, the only time you saw Stone Island was at a football match, pretty much, I'd say. To the point where if you saw a group of lads wearing Stone Island and CP Company, or something along them lines, they were fair game.
I was speaking to Grant about how he just said, at the end of the day, it was just a laugh with your mates. He said it was the best laugh you could ever have.
The scarier it was, the better. I mean, I remember going through all the tube and stuff and bumping into people everywhere you went, and it was just all day, constant, pretty much going off. And I just thought, we got on the train and we come back and we were all a bit bruised and battered, and it was just like the buzz of it. We were scary at the time, but then looking back, I mean, I remember my mate saying, fuck me, I feel like I've just been in the Warriors film. With wearing the clothes and being with them people, there comes the other side, you know, the trouble side of things. You can't wear the gear, turn up and not get your hands dirty. And obviously I did get my hands dirty. and I got really involved to the point where it culminated in me getting serious trouble, wound me up in jail. Looking back now, it probably saved my life in a way, but in another way, I lost a big chunk of my life. Some things I won't do again, but the majority of it I would, because it's, like I say, it's precious memories. I've done that. It's something that not many people can say they've experienced in their lives. I've experienced it. I've made the friends. I've got the scars to prove it. That's the end of it, really. Yeah, no problem.
Grant, Paul and Daniel all played a significant...
Okay, I just need more details. Like, getting my hands dirty is not enough, you know? What did he do to get in jail? Like, got in a fight with someone or something? He said, I have a scar to prove it. I think it's one of those things you really had to be there, because everyone's talking about it in the past, but I'm not seeing too many clips and things like that.
Yeah, no problem.
Grant, Paul and Daniel all played a significant role in the emergence, the rise and the continuation of the casual scene. And whilst they all played different parts at different times, even decades, what I noticed was that they all shared the same beliefs and attitudes. It was all about clothes, music, and most importantly, camaraderie. Whilst no one denied that violence at times could play a part, all three were adamant to make clear that their fondest memories were the times shared with fellow supporters following their club. You come to realise that this subcult really is different to anything else that is attached to the modern game, with the focus on what you're wearing, the music you're listening to, and the people you're hanging out with rather than the game itself. This is what makes it so unique and possibly the last subculture in English football.
Wow.
History
Yeah.
of how...
I mean, it is a very unique subculture. Like, that is... So you're looking for people... Let's say you're on a tube going to a match, right? You're looking for people who are wearing the same brand clothing as you, or designer or more expensive garments. And then that is a way to bond with people, meet people, make friends. So what's the difference between that and going to a match and seeing people who have the same jersey of the club you're about to support and bonding with them? It's definitely different. And I'm also wondering, like, how do you know who's supporting which club? So, like, that's what I didn't really understand about the whole them going to matches and stuff. If you're going to a match and not wearing any of your gear, who are you supporting? Like, how do you know which casuals would be your friends, I guess, kind of thing. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking it. It's probably why I'm not built out to be a casual. But this is a really interesting video. Very cool to go into some of this history here. I honestly, I have no idea what it was like. A lot of this video, they're talking about the whole casual movement in kind of a past tense way. So I'm assuming it's settled down a bit. I'm not saying it doesn't exist anymore. Obviously it does. As they say, people are still buying this style of clothing and things like that, but it doesn't seem like it's at the peak that it once was. So if anyone wants to provide some insights in the comment section about the subculture, especially those of you who were involved in it, I would be very interested to hear about some of that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely want to check out more from this channel. This channel is Copa 90 Stories. They have some great football related content and documentaries on there if you guys want to check them out. With that being said, I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.